Hey y'all, today we're going to make some yummy taco soup just in time for fall. This is so delicious and I know that you're going to love it. Let's go. So I made you a list of ingredients in case you want to do a screenshot or just pause the video and write them down. But what you're going to need is some taco seasoning, a can of kidney beans or any beans that you like. Black beans work good too. A can of tomato sauce, diced tomatoes, 1 can of corn, some ranch seasoning, a diced onion, and 1 pound of ground beef. And this is all you need to make this soup. So we're going to get started by browning our ground meat and our onions. And if you have a pressure cooker crock pot combo, you can always do this in one pot to save yourself some time and some dishes. This does make a big pot of soup. So if you still have all your family at home or if you're cooking for a group, this is the perfect meal. But it's also perfect if you are an empty nester like myself and you have now started cooking for one, because you can cook this and then separate it and freeze it, and then you have a meal for even those days that you don't really feel like cooking. So I'm curious, are you guys empty nesters like myself, or are all your kids still living at home? I remember when my kids were both still at home, and meals were always a crazy time at my house because they were involved in so many activities, sports and dance and all those things that kids are involved in. And I sure do miss it these days. But I do get to make up for it because I have grandbabies now. And so I get to go to all of their activities. And that's a lot of fun as well. I really am having to rethink the way that I've always done things, especially cooking, since I'm only cooking for one most of the time now. So I thought this would be a good way to share some of my recipes, some of my favorite things with you guys, and also a way for my kids to look back on maybe some of the things they grew up eating and be able to just step by step know how to make all their favorite meals that mama used to cook when they were growing up. So once you get your onions and your meat all browned up, we're going to add those to the crock pot. Then we're going to add our diced tomatoes. We're going to add our 1 can of tomato sauce, and that is a 15-ounce can, the big can. We're going to drain our beans and add those, whichever kind of beans you chose. We're also going to drain our corn and add that. And then we're going to add our taco seasoning. And this actually it calls for 1 packet of taco seasoning, but I always buy the big containers of seasonings when I can. So I just kind of dump it in there. Over time, you just kind of figure out how much you like. And I made a mess right there. So let's clean that up a little. And then we're going to add our ranch seasoning. Also, 1 packet of that if you're buying it by the packet, or just dump a little in. I think it comes out to about 1/4 cup for a packet, roughly, I believe. I'm not positive. Don't quote me on that. And then I take my can of tomato sauce and I add some water down in there and just kind of swish it around and get all the rest of that tomato sauce out. And then it gives a little bit of juice for your soup as well. And you can just add however much you like. If you like a lot of juice in your soup, or if you don't like a lot, you don't have to add any extra water because it'll still be good. You can always keep it thick and then serve it over some chips. It's really good over Fritos. Kind of a weird spin, maybe, on a Frito pie. So once we get everything in our crock pot and mixed together, we're going to pop the lid on it. And then we're going to set the timer. My daughter got me this crock pot last year for my birthday because my old crock pot had it. So you just set your timer, and I usually start mine in the morning and cook it on low all day. If you don't have a lot of time, you can put it on high and cook it for 3 or 4 hours. It'll turn out perfect. So this is what we end up with. It is so delicious, y'all. I know that you're going to love this. And I can't wait for you to try it and leave me some comments and let me know how you liked it, how your family liked it. Did you do something a little bit different? Or did you make it the way that I made it and you love it just as much as we did? We always add a little cheese on top. You can add some sour cream or you can add those Fritos. Enjoy.